All right, we are back for another Friday financial wrap up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
You have no idea how much I missed this. I think you did an amazing job the last couple of weeks doing solo duty. I appreciate you, but I enjoy our conversations, friendship, mentorship. So I'm back. I'm just so happy to do this again with you.
Yeah, likewise. Welcome back. I know that it is a whirlwind. This is for now. We're recording on Thursday. This is for September the 6th, 2024. Tomorrow, what's going on tomorrow? The big financial news tomorrow that we're going to be watching for.
Tomorrow we get the big jobs number, the last big jobs number before the Fed meeting, and we'll talk about the other two that we've already got in a minute. But this jobs number is way important, right? It certainly feels like the Fed is on target for a 25 basis point cut at a medium, at the minimum, excuse me. But the more calls for 50. The jobs number of tomorrow could blow all that up. If the jobs market, I'm just saying if the jobs market comes in with like a 250 or 400,000, if the unemployment rate goes from 4.3 to 4.1, again, these are not things I'm calling. I'm just trying to help you play checkers. Um, that will really cramp the Fed from cutting. I mean, how could you cut if unemployment's falling, GDP's at 3%? Um, I think the chances of cutting if you get a blowout number is not good. But let's play the other way. I mean, we've got two jobs numbers this week that have been downright horrible. If the jobs number tomorrow is bad, you could almost guarantee a 50%, 50 basis point cut. So tomorrow's number, 5:30 a.m., is way important.
This is really the last, and you've said this, we've said this on the show, you've said this the last probably all year, that really jobs are probably the biggest indicator for what the Fed's going to do and the way that they're going to pause, pivot, and or start cutting rates. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Fed went almost single mandate for the last 18 months. Inflation was 9.1%. They were ready to break the jobs market. They were. They knew that if in order to get inflation down, they may have to break the jobs market. Now, for whatever, in hindsight, they did a pretty good job, right? Inflation is now sub 3%. Jobs market hasn't broken. But given the numbers we saw this week, ADP and the JOLTS report, it is weakening and weakening fast. And the Fed might be forced to cut and may have to cut big. So it's going to be interesting.
Let's talk about the JOLTS report. What happened with the JOLTS report this week and your takeaways?
Yeah. So every month we get three jobs numbers, right, that kind of move the market. The first is always the JOLTS report. JOLTS report really is job openings. It's a lot more than that, quits and things of that nature, but it's really about job openings. And for the longest time, we had job openings over 10 million. I think they actually peaked at just over 11 million. And we had, for a long time, we had a ratio of two job openings for every unemployed, right? It was just like the job market was hot, hot, hot. Well, last month, the number was 8.1. Expectations for this month was 8.1 million, and they came in at 7.6. So a significant beat to the downside, showing that job openings are falling faster and faster. So not a good number.
Very interesting. Okay. And then let's talk about ADP.
ADP is a private payroll report, and it's the second jobs number we get. And like the JOLTS report, it's been weakening, but it took a big leap down. I think the expectations were for something like 141,000 jobs created, and it came in at 97. It's the lowest jobs creation in the last 21 months, or some horrible number. You start getting below 100,000, right? Negative's not out of the question. So again, the ADP report was ugly. If tomorrow's non-farm payroll number is equally ugly as the JOLTS and ADP, you could pretty much book a 50 basis point cut. It's that important. So we'll see.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. We'll talk about rates at the end. We'll talk about kind of your thoughts and that we thought the Fed would go higher for longer. They have, right? People have been begging for a rate cut all year long, it
All
feels
year.
like.
All
So,
year.
but we are very close to it. So let's keep going. Let's talk about I've never heard you say this term before, the Fed beige book. What is the Fed beige book, and what's going on there this week?
Yeah, so the Fed Beige Book is something that we don't talk about a lot. You're absolutely right, but it's basically a monthly report about the different districts, right? There's 18 Fed presidents, right? And each of them gives a little mini synopsis about what's going on in their, I'll call it district. I don't think they use that language, but you get the picture, right? Their area. And this Beige Book for the first time had everybody talking about their areas declining. Nobody had growth. I think there was two out of the 18 were, you know, kind of okay, but the other 16 were weak and very recessionary kind of talk. And I know the economic numbers, GDP 3%, all of that, but the Beige Book was eye opening because it's painting a very different picture. And these Fed presidents, I think, are getting nervous. I mean, you have a gentleman named Bostic, Fed President Bostic, who has been the hawk of the group. He's now a dove. He's now saying ready to go. We may have to go bigger. We may have to go 50, and it's. I think they're actually seeing a deteriorating economy in the numbers, and the Beige Book was just another example of that.
Very interesting. And so anything else with Fed President Bostic that
No, it's just that he's gone from a hawk to a dove. He's talking about now might be the time, and that's a pretty significant move from a hawk to a dove like that.
it, and he has been like a hardcore hawk. I mean, meaning
Oh,
that
yeah.
he's against cutting rates. He wanted higher for longer. And okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Very, very interesting. I want to ask you a curveball. You did another show with another one of the experts, another one of the millionaire panelists that are a part of the community. And forgive me, I do. You talked about that we're in a recession, and I
Yeah.
can't think. Anna Kelly.
Anna Kelly. Yeah.
Anna Kelly. Anna Kelly. I don't know how did I forget her name? So
Okay.
Anna Kelly, you talked about recessionary, and she said that
Yeah.
there's like, can you just comment briefly on that? Maybe people should go back and watch that video.
I think it's a really important call. I'm glad you picked up on that one. She and I disagree. We don't disagree all the time, but she is envisioning a deep and dark recession. And I'm of the guys that it certainly feels like we may have a rolling recession, right? A rolling recession would not be deep as dark. It would not cause the Fed to, go back to the zero bound, but it'll be uncomfortable for much longer time. A rolling recession, just by the definition, is much longer in duration. But yeah, Anna Kelly is of the belief, and this is an important point because if you were in a rolling recession, you act and operate one way. If you think we're going into a deep and dark recession, you act differently. So this is
Yep.
an important decision that people have to kind of unpack.
Very interesting times. I'm going to go back and rewatch the video. I would suggest other viewers, listeners do the same. Let's keep going. Let's talk about rates. What do you see with rates? Talk about 30-year mortgage also with the Fed.
Yeah, dude, rates are at I just talked to Lance Lambert. He just posted the rates today are 6.35, 30-year fixed owner rock average. That is 1/100th of a point from a 18-month low. The current cycle low is 6.34. We might break that tomorrow, right? If the jobs number is ugly, we could break that tomorrow. I talked to lenders today, Dustin and Jonathan, Convoy Home Loans, and they're like, rates are falling really fast, and DSCR loans are in the fives now, and people are looking at doing cash out refis, and it's just, I don't want rates to fall this fast because this yo-yo thing, dude, I don't want asset inflation. And I tell you that as somebody who owns millions of dollars of assets. I don't want to see the affordability get out of whack again. And if we get rates too low too fast, it's gonna send assets higher. So, but to your point, to the meat of your question, it certainly feels like we might be below 6% by the end of the year. It certainly feels that's possible. And that might be a
Absolutely.
problem.
Yeah, it could really because the inventory, in fact, the inventory is dropping off. You talked about it earlier in this week in daily financial news. Inventory is just going to continue to decline because the seasonality now.
Yeah, with seasonality, we got an election. Do think because again, I think we're at a buyer's market. I think buyer's market are very short windows of time. In a buyer's market, you have all this marginal demand that just decides not to play. They're not participating. We get past the election. We get rates below 6. We get into the spring selling season in February, in March, in April. I don't know. Could be a problem.
Very, very interesting times. Let's keep going. One of my favorites, Pace Morby. Talk about your conversation with Pace. I've got to go watch the video. I would encourage everybody else to do the same. I love Pace. I love you. You guys are part of my Mount Rushmore of real estate heroes. Talk about with your conversation with Pace this week.
Yeah, so special shout out to Pace. He did a Instagram live that I just happened to catch. It was actually on my cruise, so I caught it live and had connection. And he was talking about real estate investors should 99% of real estate investors should focus on getting to 5 rentals. Stop the madness of 1,000 and all of this. And it's near and dear to my heart, right? My first book anchors on get to 4, get to 4. So if you want to get to 5, I mean, I just love the fact that one of the biggest voices in real estate investing, Pace Morby, is talking my book. And I think that's awesome.
Yep.
And he reached out to me and says, "Hey, I want to talk to you guys." So he asked to talk to the lumberjack and Dion. So we did a full 2 hours and 15 minutes of the 4 of us chatting about what real estate investors should do, what the industry should do. And I'll let everybody watch it, but I want to leave you with this. Near the end of the video, Pace gave a wonderful analogy that really highlighted our difference, me and him. And I think it's important. And Pace is a big golfer, if people don't know. And he says, this real estate investing thing, this earning financial freedom thing is a lot like golf. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure where you're going with this, but let's play it out. And he's like, you have 18 holes. And then you have this thing called the 19th hole, which is where you go, you drink a beer, you sit down, you talk to your friends, right? And he goes, Zuber, you played 18 holes and you're enjoying life. You're in the 19th hole. And he basically said he's broken. And folks like Grant Cardone and Ken McElroy and some others are broken, that they just never stop playing the game. Yeah. They don't go from the 18th hole to the 19th green. They go back to the hole number 1. They don't care how light it is, how bright it is, how dark it is. They just keep playing and playing and playing. And that really hit me because you've heard me say many times, I chose to sit down, right? I'm on this hill. I could choose to grow again, but I chose to sit down. And I thought the golf analogy was pretty amazing. And that was just one of many things that we discussed. It was like eye-opening. And yeah, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Well worth the listen.
So good. And I love the Pace talking about the metaphor of golf. And Pace is the kind of player that he would be out there like before the sun comes up with the sprinklers on, trying to figure out where the sprinklers are not on to play that hole to warm up. That's who Pace is. So yeah, that guy's amazing. I love it. Let's keep going. Let's talk about another very influential Brandon Turner. Bigger Pockets, a lot of fireworks over at Bigger Pockets. I'm a fan of all the above. I'm very interested. I know your take. What is your take with Brandon Turner this week?
So again, I have a personal dislike for the person. I don't like him as a human being. I've had interactions with him that have left a bad taste in my mouth decades ago. In fairness, he probably doesn't even remember me. He probably doesn't know me from Adam. But once you have this bad taste, it just never goes away. But that said, he is the biggest voice in real estate investing. Brandon Turner is that guy. He's on the Mount Rushmore of most people's investing. And he put out a video a couple of days ago talking about getting to 2, which I thought was awesome, right? Again, my book is 4. Get to 4, get to 4. Small and mighty. Coach Carson. It's my rhythm. And to have folks like Pace Morby and now the god Brandon Turner talk about getting to 2, it's like, thank you. Stop talking about mobile home parks. Stop talking about syndications. Stop talking about all this other. Stop talking about you. Talk about the audience. And dude, Brandon Turner talked about getting to 2. I'm like, I almost dropped my phone. I was like, what the hell happened? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The one thing about the one rental at a time, this whole thing is it works. It works. It's
Slow and
foundational and
steady.
it works.
Yeah, I like
So
it.
I love it. Let's wrap up with some opportunity. A couple things that I want to just shout. I am so excited about the February event. A lot of buzz. I've gotten some messages. I was with the school community 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and there's just a buzz around it. Talk about the February event and where can people get more information on it?
Yeah, just go to Eventbrite. I'll put a link below here, but Eventbrite, you can find it one rental at a time. It's their second event. Um, Again, it's going to be 8, 9, 10 speakers, Q&A with the audience, 6 hours of networking. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to feed everybody 2 lunches and a dinner plus dessert. We'll celebrate, get cake and cupcakes again. But yeah, I'm totally excited about it. I'm trying to sell it out quick, so I'm giving a special. If you buy a ticket, general admission or VIP, I'm going to give you the recording from last year. I hosted on Teachable, so I'll give you it for free as a thank you. We've already got 78 tickets sold. I'd love to sell the other, whatever it is, 350 or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'd love to see it sell out, and so I can focus on the event.
Yeah, this event is, I mean, it's top notch. And unlike, it's kind of the anti event, meaning that nobody's walking around big leaguing. All of your experts, all of the millionaires, everybody that's there. I mean, it's just really like a big hangout. Like everybody's talking in the lobby, hanging out, having coffee. The space itself where it's at is super intimate. No cigarette smoke of the casinos. You can stay at any hotel. There's not, yeah, it's so well set up in terms of networking. I love it, Michael.
Yeah, I know the Blind Center really fills a couple of needs. Once it's off strip, which I love. So you Uber there or drive there, you're not going to get distracted. You're not going to go to the casino and gamble. Also, it allows us to give back. The Blind Center works with the visually impaired of Clark County, aka Vegas, and they rent it out on the weekends. So we're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars, and it's all going to a good cause. So I'm happy to do it. Great opportunity.
It's a great event, folks. Buy your tickets now. This will sell out. Go to the Eventbrite link. Eventbrite, one rental at a time. You can also find it just based on a search. Michael, anything else? Any other parting words?
No, folks, I'll just close with this. We are in a buyer's market. There are motivated sellers out there. It's your job to write disrespectful offers. It's your job to follow up. It's your job to do the work. I'm getting notes from almost every day now about people. Oh my God, you were right. You were right. I got 10% off, 12% off. I got closing costs. I got this. I got that. Folks, buyer's markets are short.
Yep.
This one will probably be over by February 15th. It may be over by January 15th. Do the work, please. Don't pay list price. Get a discount. Get closing costs. Get everything you can now.
Michael, thank you for all that you do. Have a great weekend. Thank you.